Are you a pasta lover? Well, this episode is for you. Welcome back to yet another episode of Miss Mandi Throwdown. In this episode, I get to show you how I whip up some amazing cannoli shells that are going to be stuffed with spinach and lots of cheese. I'm pretty sure you're at home wondering, what are cannoli shells? Well, cannoli shells are simply a pasta. To make it simple, it's just pasta. It's huge. You can stuff in it, okay? Pun intended. If you want something stuffed in yours, you could stuff it as well. Well, you can stuff it in with, of course, mincemeat or spinach. That's what I'm gonna be using today. I'm gonna be using tons of ricotta. So why don't we get ready to whip this up, right? And stuff it in? Yeah, no, maybe? Okay. First things first, we're gonna, of course, heat up our pot and then add in some olive oil. Then add in half of your diced onion. Add in a little bit of your chopped garlic. Proceed to add in some of your green pepper. And like always, we're just going to be adding a little bit of salt and of course a little bit of black pepper as well. It's been about a minute now. We're just going to add in our tomatoes. We're using 4 tomatoes that are peeled. We're going to just season the tomatoes with a little bit of salt, cumin powder. It's about a teaspoon. I'm going to add in some more black pepper. I'm going to add in some paprika. Of course, some garlic powder. And lastly, we're just going to add in just a little bit of chili, which is completely optional if you do not like your food spicy. I'm going to let that cook for about a minute or two. It's been 2 minutes. And we're just going to check on the tomatoes. And we're going to mash them down before we add in our tomato paste to help it thicken. We're gonna be adding in 2 teaspoons of tomato paste, then add in about 3/4 cups of water. And then we're gonna stir in the tomato paste in order for it to dissolve into the water. We're just gonna be taking a handful of the Parmesan cheese and sprinkling some in there in order for it to simmer together. And we're also going to be adding in just a little bit of basil. We've moved it onto a medium-sized burner in order for it to just simmer. And then we are, of course, going to bring a larger pot onto the bigger burner and let the hot water boil for a while. It's been 9 minutes. Our stew is not as thick as I want it to be because you know I like it thick. So we're gonna be adding in some more tomato paste and of course stir it in order for it to thicken up. And then of course go ahead and cover it. So the water is boiling really fast. I'm just gonna pour in like a drop of cooking oil so that the cannoli shells don't stick together. Now here's the trick. You're gonna need to move it off the heat. Since the water is hot, it's going to keep the cannolis just slightly cooking. It's gonna be for about 2 to 3 minutes. Going to move on to our last step, steaming our spinach and kale. I like to mix both. However, if you just want to use spinach alone, go ahead and use a ton of it. As our skooma and of course spinach is steaming, kale and spinach, we're going to be adding in 1 chopped garlic. I'm going to sprinkle in about 2 pinches of salt and add in some black pepper and just another hint of garlic powder. I'm going to be using about a huge heap of ricotta cheese. And of course you're going to need to mix that into the steamed kale. So mix it in well. It's been 16 minutes. We're going to be turning off the sauce. We're going to be using some of our sauce and use it to base the bottom because this is of course where we're going to be placing our cannoli shells, and then of course proceed to start stuffing in your shells. So you're going to be taking a spoon and then slowly stuffing this shells with of course your ricotta cheese, and try and be gentle. Once you've stuffed your shells, you're going to proceed to of course lay them onto your sauce. You're going to take a little bit more of your sauce and then just drizzle it on top. Take your cheese and be generous with it, sprinkling it on top of the cannoli shells. I mixed in mozzarella cheese and cheddar cheese as well. We're going to be cooking this at about 180 degrees. But do remember that every oven varies, and you probably know your oven better than I know it. We've been baking our cannoli shells for about 18 minutes now, and I am excited. If you don't like cheesy, guys, you might as well start liking a cheesy meal. And that's why these cannoli shells should be on your bucket list on things that you need to whip up. It's about time that I start to dig in, but before I do, I need to let you know that you of course need to subscribe, comment, share, and to top it off, just whip this up and tag me. Tag me, you know you want to. Anyway, here's for the best part. Let me just try it out.